Hello, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Today is Marvel Superheroes Day, and in this one, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. Obviously, I have just opened up the client for the first time, and I'm getting all these wonderful rewards. I have not had a chance to play with any of these cards, so of course, I don't feel comfortable putting out a deck quite yet. But what I have been doing over the last couple of days is throwing together some decks, theory crafting some stuff, and putting together decks that I think have a chance at being a good starting point for some stuff. And I want to share all of those decks with you people today. So, a good way to do that, I thought, wow, getting a lot of stuff. I thought a good way to do that would be to open some cards live or open some packs rather. And when those cards popped up, I can show you some of these deck lists that I have thrown together, and we can then kind of talk about them a little bit. So the first thing I got to do, of course, is I got to go over here and I got to buy some packs. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to buy 45 more packs. You know what? Let's round it out to a nice 50. What do we get for the bonus? I really wish they kept the special card there for that. I always kind of like that one. Let's grab. No, I only need two more to grab one more golden pack. Let's grab one more golden pack, shall we? All right, and buy it with gold. So, Marvel Superheroes is out. I don't know if this is going to have a huge impact on standard, but I think the set looks a little bit neat. I can't move it over. There we go. And there are certainly some cards that are going to be great for Brawl, but there are some that can have an impact on standard, I believe. So let's get into this and we'll talk about some decks as we go through this. I am going to post all of the deck lists in the description. There's going to be 8 in total. I didn't mention that. 8 new decks, 9 technically. There's one that I didn't make, but I'm going to mention it probably as we go through things. And I'm going to put them all on Moxfield. Usually I put all of my decks on all 3 websites that people tend to use, but this time around, I'm not going to be doing that because it's just too much work. I don't want to be posting 24 links. Avengers Disassembled is one of these cards that I've heard a ton of people talking about. I watched Saffron Olive's early access video, and he was very high on this card. People seem to like it. It's going to be a good sweeper, and then being able to destroy a land tends to be good because there's a lot of very good utility lands floating around in the format. I didn't personally build a deck with it, but yeah. Baron Zemo and MODOK are 2 other cards that I know a ton of people have been messing around with. The villains archetype does seem to be one of those ones that people are interested in, but I didn't get around to doing it. And amazingly, not a single one of my cards that I was looking for showed up in this opening stuff. Of course, Earth's Mightiest Heroes is going to be another one of those cards that I think people are going to mess around with, especially with the World War Hulk saga. People seem to be looking to cheat stuff in with this one. Whoa, we whiffed a little hard on that first little bit there, didn't we? All right, try again. Quicksilver, sure. So we get our first one, Quicksilver. Now, I don't know how I'm going to be doing this, but I have made a deck with Quicksilver. Go. And I gotta pop it up over here, and this should have it on the screen. And I hope this is working because I'm kind of doing it blind. Actually, I gotta double check that it's working. I gotta move my OBS over, and yes, OBS is showing it. So here is the deck list that I've thrown together. I think Equipment is going to finally make its place in the format. When cards like Cloud came out in the Final Fantasy set, I think a lot of people were looking at trying to make Equipment work, but it just didn't quite feel right. You know, other cards like Raban, super powerful. Freya works excellently with Equipment-based decks. But now with the Superheroes deck, we have some more cards that I think complement the archetype a little bit more. Quicksilver being one of those cards. Quicksilver is going to be good. You're going to throw it down on the field right away. It's going to be a nice card to load up with some early equipment. And whether or not this is actually the card that makes this deck pick, I'm not sure. But I honestly think Iron Man Armor is going to be the real hero. I think this is a very real card. It's probably one of the cards that I am most excited about in the format. It just does so much. And then if we do have some equipment on the field, the ability to turn it on, it says pay 2. If this equipment isn't a creature, it becomes a 0/0 construct artifact creature with flying, and this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. For 2 mana, if you can make like a 4/4, a 3/3 flyer, that's going to be pretty good. Yeah, I'm excited about this deck. I'm also kind of excited about Super Soldier Serum being a way of just like winning the game out of nowhere after maybe our opponents have dealt with some of our stuff. If we throw down something like a Cloud or a Quicksilver, especially Quicksilver with haste, and just throw a Soldier Serum on him, this thing could be crazy. Whenever a enchanted creature attacks or blocks, attach any number of target equipments you control to it. So let's say you have two or three equipments on the field. Well, then suddenly you throw down a Quicksilver, throw on the Super Soldier Serum, and that thing is going to be an absolute beast. Mjolnir is also another cute one. Maybe I'll talk about Mjolnir a little bit later. This is one of these cards that I'm a little bit more afraid of in the format than I am crafting it or using it, because I think it's just going to be wiping out most of my board. The fact that it's a Pyroclasm at instant speed is going to be pretty deadly, I think. All right, let's get rid of this and go back to opening some packs. Absorbing Man, sure. I'm sure people will find a place for it. Heroes is going to be one that I'm going to talk about when I get around to it. But, well, I guess we're going to get around to it now. Before that, though, of course, all of the new lands are going to be fantastic. If you are a new player and you're looking to open some packs, I think this set could be a pretty good one to open up, because these new lands are probably going to be somewhat staply in standard format decks. And now we have Captain America Wings of Freedom, and I guess that, of course, brings me over to Heroes. Hop on over to Heroes and show that. There we go, Heroes. Heroes is going to be an interesting deck to build around. I don't know how it's really going to work, but boom, boom, boom. I don't have 3 monitors. I wish I had 3 monitors. I only have 2 monitors to make this work. I need 3 monitors. But the Heroes decks, so people are going to try to make this. People are going to try to make 5-color Heroes decks. People are going to try to make maybe mono white Heroes deck. I think there's something in the 2 or 3 color range. Mostly this is an Azorius version of the deck, but it does have a little bit of green with Jennifer Walters. Walters, not Waters. Jennifer Walters. Big She-Hulk fan over here. More importantly, I'm a big Captain America fan. Captain America is probably one of my favorite heroes overall in Marvel. Actually, the hero that got me into reading comics back in like 2007-ish era when Brubaker was on Captain America. He was doing Captain America and Daredevil, and that was the comic that really sold me on comic books. But I think both of the Captain Americas are going to work very well in some decks. I'm going to be trying them in a lot of different decks. This thing, flying, first strike, ward 1, whenever Captain America attacks, each other hero you control gets +X until the end of turn, where X is Captain America's toughness. So if we have ways of pumping up Captain America with cards like Origin of the Avengers, the last part of this says put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Practiced offense, obviously putting +1/+1 counters on things. I think that's probably about all we need. Also, Agent Phil Coulson is going to be a fantastic card. I think overall as a nice 3 of in the deck. A 2/2 body is a little bit vulnerable, but you can start putting +1/+1 counters on all of your heroes. That's going to be pretty fantastic. And then, of course, the regular Captain America, which I'm sure we will open later on. This thing is just going to be so annoying for opponents to deal with. First strike, Captain America enters with a shield counter on him. Shield counter means that it has indestructible, so any lethal damage or destroy ability that hits Captain America will instead remove the shield counter, and he will remain on the field. And then as long as Captain America has the shield counter on him, which is crazy, and other heroes you control have hexproof. So with these 2 on the field, I think it can do a lot of damage. And then how you build out the rest of the deck with your heroes, I think is really going to be up to you. I really want to try some of these teamwork cards, Teamwork 2 and Teamwork 2 as well here. We say the Nay and Helicarrier Strike. One of them is a counter spell, one of them is a removal spell, and it works really well with cards like Agent Maria Hill, where we can use her to tap for the teamwork ability, get a little bit of extra juice, and draw a card. So something here feels really good. This is probably one of the first decks that I'm going to be trying out because, I don't know, something about it just seems like it has the possibility to do well. All right, back into opening some things. Origin of the Avengers, we already got it. That's nice to open one of those because I'm going to need 4 of them. Thor, God of Thunder, and Ultron are both also very cool cards that I think people are going to be messing around with, but I never got around with making decks with them. 10 more. Maybe we'll pick up the pace. We've only gotten through 2 of our decks so far, so that's kind of Got a lot more to go. Ares, God of War. He is carrying an axe and a missile launcher. I didn't realize that, and that is rad. Oh, I guess we could talk about Tigra a little bit over here. Tigra hiding down in the corner here. I do want to mess around with Tigra. I don't think that's much of a surprise because, well, I think some of you probably know that I am a fan of life gain strategies when I can do them. And I threw together this very simple looking life gain, Golgari life gain deck. I think probably a lot of people are going to be trying something like this. It just, you see a card like Tigra and you just know you have to try it out. So whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Definitely leaning into the +1/+1 counter synergy that comes with life gain. We have Michelangelo to improve all of those +1/+1 counters. Pest Mascot also getting benefit in that way. And then Heroic Feast is really the card that makes me want to try this deck. Whenever this enchantment enters, create a food token. Then whenever you gain life, choose up to that many target creatures you control, put a +1/+1 counter on each of them. So if we have a nice little wide board, we gain 3 life with something like a Delian Fell, then suddenly we can put upwards of +6 power on the field if we have a Michelangelo and 3 creatures. That's kind of crazy. So I think something here could work. This was one of those decks that I wanted to play last season, but I never really found a good makeup for it and just didn't get around to actually playing. Okay, Super Adaptoid, maybe something, I don't know, Worlds Within Worlds. World War Hulk, gonna be a huge card. Already talked about it. Didn't make a deck myself around it, but I think you should expect to see that quite a bit. Dune Reigns Supreme, also maybe some people will try messing around with that. What's gonna happen if I don't open at least one card from each of those decks that I made? I wonder. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, I suppose. Castle Doom, another World War Hulk. Why not get my World War Hulks in? And a big old whiff on this pack, although some good cards with Avengers Disassemble, World War Hulk. This card is also probably going to be quite good, but I haven't personally looked into it that much. Okay, hopefully a little bit lucky on these 10, and we'll pick up the pace ever so slightly. Oh, we get a special card, I guess. Another Quicksilver, Origins, Orving Man, Nick Fury. We already talked a little bit about Nick Fury. He showed up in the Heroes deck. There's the Heroic Feast, so I got one for that deck. There's our, what is it called? Extra sheet card, Black Panthers Redirection. Kind of cool. I always tried Narset's reversal in EDH decks back in the day, and it never worked for me. Not once, I don't think. Ooh, we got a Hercules. Hey, handsome fella. I like Hercules. I wish Hercules got maybe a rare. Cool card. That's a lot of not cards I want to see. My third World War Hulk. Okay, another Heroic Feast. Captain Marvel also maybe showing up in some decks in the Century. I'm imagining people will try to jam it because it's kind of a cool card. But not what I want to see. I think, oh, I got to be looking at some of the uncommon and the commons, I think, because I did mess around with this guy, Hydra Assault Robot, and I guess this can bring me into the deck that I am least sure about, but also one of the decks that I think could have the potential to be fun, interesting, I suppose is what I want to say. So this is a black-red weapons manufacturing deck. And this deck is looking to use 2 new cards. Hydra Assault Robot. Whenever another villain or an artifact you control enters, this creature deals 1 damage to each, to target opponent. And then the other one is going to be the Machine Smith Automaton. Trample. Whenever another artifact you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Definitely leaning more into the Hydra Assault Robot. What we want to do is obviously put down our weapons manufacturing, start putting enchantment or artifacts on the field, and then getting the benefit of pinging the opponent with either the Hydra Assault Robot, or then sacking the weapons manufacturing cards to something like a Legion Extruder, or eventually having the Ardent on the field, which will also deal 1 damage to the opponent whenever an artifact or another creature enters the battlefield. So some cool little synergies here. It's a Rottenmouth Viper deck, so we're going to be looking to sacrifice mass artifacts to get full advantage of the weapon manufacturing. Whether this one will work or not, I don't know, but I see a card like Hydra Assault Robot, and I kind of think, you know what, there must be some way to make a card like that work. Right? Right? It seems good. Also, this is a cool card for an uncommon. Falcon's Wing Harness. I'm going to mention it in a deck in a little bit. I believe it's going to pop up. But yeah, this just seems like a good card to me. 2 mana. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 flying and ward 1. Turn it into like the spider that shows up in all the enchantment decks, I guess. The Mighty Jane Foster. The Mighty Thor Jane Foster. This is one of the cards that I was looking for, of course. This is going to be an Azorius. What are we doing? Right? Didn't I put Mighty Jane in one of these decks? Did I take Mighty Jane out of one of these decks? Oh my goodness, I think I did. I thought I was playing Mighty Jane. Oh no, I am. There. I just have it stacked differently. Okay. We're good now. We're good. Pop it up. There we go. We are definitely going to be trying out Azorius equipment. I think Boros equipment and Azorius equipment both have wheels, and Mighty Jane, I call her Mighty Jane, the Mighty Thor Jane Foster, the Mighty Jane from here on out. Flying, whenever this creature attacks, exile up to 1 target artifact, non-token artifact or creature, then return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. Going to be really good for like flashing something like a cloud. That could be kind of cool. Comes back in and you get the equipment tutor one more time. And then whenever an equipment you control enters, draw a card. So I think Mighty Jane is going to be pretty good overall. And then there are other cards that work really well just in general. I think King T'Challa is going to be a fantastic card one way or another. It's just powerful. It has flash. It's a 3/2, not so great. But on the backside, can I see the backside? It becomes an absolute monster. Flash, double strike, prevent all damage that would be dealt to Black Panther. And then whenever Black Panther deals damage to a player, draw a card. So just a big, big scary body. And then its ability is very powerful. Whenever a player draws their second card each turn, you draw a card. People love drawing cards in this format. People are going to be doing it a ton. There is the Falcon Wing Harness. Falcon's Wing Harness. Iron Man suit shows up again as a full 4 of. And then Super Soldier Serum one more time. So this deck, something here, I think we're definitely going pretty heavy on equipment. Trying to figure out what creatures to equip it to is going to be a big problem. But I think there might be something to this one, or at least to this archetype. I am hopeful about this one because I think it looks kind of cool. Okay, back to packs. Gotta make sure I'm not messing anything up. This is uncharted territory as far as making videos go. The Wondrous Wasp did also show up in, what do you call it? The Heroes deck. I think that card is very powerful. More Mighty Jane, and that Monica Rambeau, I think, is in another deck, and I can talk about her. Horn of Greed, toot toot. What a card, right? Monica Rambeau, going to be kind of cool. I think flying and prowess, 3/3 for 3, doesn't seem too bad to me. And where I'm going to be trying Monica Rambeau first is in a new enchantment shell. So, of course, everybody knows the typical mono white enchantments: Optimistic Scavenger, Skyward Spider, which is the original version of the card, and I cannot remember what the other one is called. I'm never going to remember. And then, of course, your typical aura synergies with the enchantments that come in, like Ethereal Armor and Shard Mage's Rescue, Origin of Spider-Man. I was trying to think of Along Comes a Spider is the original name of this one. I cannot remember what the Skyward Soldier Spider's name is. Somebody let me know. And then again, Origins of the Avengers. I didn't really talk about this one too much in the other one, but its second phase is very powerful. You may put a hero creature card with mana value 3 or less from your hand onto the battlefield. If you do, don't draw a card. This is going to be good because, again, we have the Captain Americas, and then we have Monica Rambeau. If we can throw her onto the field, she's going to be pretty powerful to kind of protect with some of our enchantments like Ethereal Armor or Shard Mage's Rescue. It's already flying, so it's going to be a very powerful thing that's going to be just getting in. It could just very well end games on the spot. I also like Super Villain Lockup. I think this is just kind of a cool card, and I really want to try it out in some decks. So, yeah, maybe. I'm kind of hopeful, but it might just be a dream as far as that one goes. So I think I'm actually down to just 2 more decks that I want to mention. So I'm specifically looking for 2. Actually, there are 3 because there's one deck that I didn't make, but I think is going to be a deck that's going to be showing up quite a bit. So when we find that card, I will mention it just briefly. I think Storm is also a very powerful card, a very interesting one that I want to mess around with. We'll see. 9 lives and Righteous Fury for our special guest cards. And finally, Jennifer Waiters. Isn't that what I called her first? She-Hulk. What a cool card. I do think that card's going to be very powerful. The ability to stop your opponents from being able to do stuff on your turn is going to obviously be a pretty powerful ability to have. Vision, also kind of a cool card. Hey, Mjolnir opened. Why not? Getting down to it. 3 more cards that we're looking for. That's how I want to say it. And we'll see, hopefully, some more special sheet cards. I like seeing those cards. There's one of them. We'll come back to it in a second. So I think it's no surprise to anybody that the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl is one of the cards that a lot of people are talking about. This card is obviously going to be a fan favorite for EDH players. Those people are going to go crazy for this card, I believe. And I think probably we're going to see some kind of combo deck along with Enduring Vitality and the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. This is a deck that Jim Davis played during the early access, so definitely not mine. But I think definitely you're going to see plenty of decks that are going to be taking advantage of the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, trying to make essentially infinite mana and creating an infinitely large army, and then eventually ending it with the big old hoof. Because who doesn't want to do that? And of course, all of that is really going to be enabled because of Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu. This card, 2 CMC 2/2. You may activate abilities of creatures you control as though those creatures had haste. Insane. It's going to be one of those cards that just leads to tons of combos. It exists for the sole purpose of being a combo enabler. Down to 19. Uh-oh. But surely we should open what we're looking for. Hey, Killmonger. I didn't realize he was an uncommon. Poor Killmonger. Doesn't even... Hey, there it is. The Serpent Society. Let's forget about Killmonger. The Serpent Society is another one that I want to talk about because we are definitely going to be trying a poison deck in Standard. I think it's only natural that poison shows up. Yeah, here it is. The Serpent Society cool card, Death Touch Ward. You get 5 poison counters. So if you can put some poison counters on your opponent, the Serpent Society becomes a card that they just like cannot remove with direct removal, right? They're not going to be able to target it. Then whenever another creature you control with Death Touch dies, each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature of their choice. That means that the opponent is going to have a really hard time blocking the Serpent Society or the rest of our deck, which is made up of a whole bunch of death touching creatures. It seems like there's something cool here, and I really, really want to try this one. Of course, we are also playing Finn, the Fangbearer. This is the other linchpin in the deck. Death Touch. Whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals combat damage to a player, that player gets 2 poison counters. So if we can start accumulating poison counters very quickly, we're going to be doing well. The problem with this deck is that it is essentially all in on Finn. Without Finn, I don't know what the deck's going to do. I do have the Royal Treatment in here as a way of protecting Finn, but I kind of feel like I want a way of bringing Finn back. I put in Professor Dalian Fell as a way of removal, but now I'm thinking about it. Maybe Ral Zarek needs to be in this deck. That fella brings something back. Okay. Now I'm thinking about it. Maybe I have to look into maybe changing some stuff up. So my plan is for the rest of today is to play with the rest of these cards. This is of course going to be, hey, Wolverine, Wolverine's my boy, of course. And I know if a certain person in my life sees this, they're going to tease me about why I like Wolverine. But he's Canadian. I'm Canadian. I've been exposed apparently through my pronunciation of words lately. And Wolverine's just awesome. I always like Wolverine. But yeah, I'm going to spend the rest of the day. I'm going to be playing these cards, these decks, seeing which ones work. Oh, that's awesome. And hopefully figuring out some tweaks to improve some of the decks that I have been sharing with all of you today. Of course, do let me know down in the comments what you guys think of this type of video? Do you think this is going to be a worthwhile way of doing it? I've talked about this before. Wednesdays are just like a really hard day for me. I have a Shang-Chi. I opened one before. I could have talked about that deck beforehand. I have something else that I do on Wednesdays, so it kind of ties me up as far as what I can do in the mornings on Wednesday when the set releases. The problem is it released on Wednesday for me because I'm not in North America. I think that's pretty clear, and it's awkward for figuring out when I can make these decks. So we're still hunting for one card. There's a good chance that we'll open it in these ones. Bruce Banner was not the card, but Bruce Banner is a pretty cool one. However, we are starting to get cards from the from other sets, so we might be in a little bit of trouble. And if I don't open that last card, I don't know if I'm going to just go buy more packs or if I'm just going to show the deck. I'll probably just show the deck. I don't want to open too many decks or packs because I do want to do a little bit of drafting with this set, and I will maybe open prize packs there and whatnot. Oh boy, it's not popping up. Where is it? Do you know what card I'm looking for? Let me know if you have an idea, an inkling of the card that I have not opened yet. Wolverine coming in hot. I didn't make any deck with Wolverine, but I definitely think there is something there. Kingpin is also a very cool card. Gonna be experimenting with a ton of decks over the next couple of days, and hopefully testing some of these and finding some good results with it. Maybe the last card. It's not. It's Ralph. Oh yeah. Bum bum bum. Well, we kind of whiffed on. Oh, we have a little bit of hope left. I didn't realize. Dun 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 dun. Come on. Serpent Society showing up one more time. I got a good feeling about this one. And it's not. Well, that's a real shame, because the last card was a card that I think a lot of people are probably going to be pretty excited about and trying to build into a deck. And that is, of course, Namor, who didn't show up once. Oh, it is a mythic rare. I guess I thought it was only a rare. So Namor, very cool card, flying. Namor's power is equal to the number of merfolk you control. Then, whenever you cast a non-creature spell with one or more blue mana symbols in its mana cost, create that many 1/1 blue merfolk creature tokens. So Namor, I think, is definitely going to have two different ways of building this card. One of those ways being focusing on merfolk proper. But the problem with that is that you're not going to be triggering Namor very often, right? Whenever you cast a non-creature spell. The other way is the way that I'm building it, which is more of a prowess type deck. And of course, we do have cards in here that work well with prowess, pseudo prowess, the Planisphere, and Hydro-Man, along with Stormchaser's Talent, making otters. So if we get some of these other creatures on the field that will benefit every time we play things like Opt, Sleight of Hand, we have some counter magic with Get Out and Spell Pierce, 3 steps ahead, Spider Sense. We can generate quite a few blue merfolk while protecting our board, while also getting the benefit of these cards like Planisphere, which will also trigger Namor. Stormchaser's Talent will also trigger Namor. So I think there's something kind of here with this deck. I'm pretty excited about this one. Now, I did throw in one Lord, just 3 copies of it, because I think this could be a good way to finish on the board. If you have a board full of merfolk, you throw down a Deep Channel Duelist, and suddenly all those 1/1s become 2/2s, and doubling the damage output is going to probably be something that the opponents are going to have a hard time dealing with. So unfortunately, I didn't open any Namors, but there is the final deck. So that is 8 decks that you can maybe get some inspiration from, or maybe even just try out yourself. Let me know what you think about those decks, whether or not they're going to work. Also, what's going on in the store? We got a superhero bundle, one-time purchase. What do you get for it? 10 packs. And well, I'm probably gonna buy this, right? Yeah, so Cap and Wolverine are my boys. Cap, Wolverine for Marvel. Those are my two. You know, I love them so much. And then, of course, you head on over to DC for Batman, and those are the top 3. Did we end up finding... Where are you, Namor? That's my first Iron Man armor? That sucks. Oh man, I'm not getting any of the mythics that I need. That really sucks. Okay. Multiversal incursion. Sure. What is this card? For each non-token creature you control, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it isn't legendary. Oh boy. That seems interesting. And I'm kind of curious, just as a little outro for things. Like I said, you know, let me know what you think about this type of video, whether you like it or you're not a big fan of it. Cool, basic, full arts. Of course, they bring back the spider full arts. Weren't those from Spider-Man? Yeah. And then, of course, we got tons and tons of avatars. Got some emotes. How do the emotes look? Whatever. No more audio, man. What they did the audio with Avatar, and then they just didn't do it again. And then, of course, we get all of these. How do you feel about the comic book art? Oh, why? I want the comic book art. I don't want that art. I want to see this. That's weird that they're doing that. So if you buy this, do you not get? That's strange, right? Because you would expect this, not that. Weird. Lots and lots of cosmetics to debate over whether or not you want to buy them. Man, why do I like cosmetics so much? I shouldn't. All right, that's it for this one. We're going to be jumping into some decks and trying some stuff out, experimenting with things. Let me know what you thought about this video idea, whether or not you thought it was valuable. I said that before, but I'll say it again. That's it. Take care for now. Enjoy some Marvel superheroes. Sarangi Puna, and I'll catch you in a real gameplay video on Friday. Bye-bye.